So first of all, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer. I'm an agency account manager for Yandex Ads in Asia. And today we'll dive into Yandex Unified Performance Campaign. So let me just share this one screen. Okay, so alongside me, we also have Lily. So Lily is the head of accounts in Yandex, and she's been working with Yandex since forever. So she's basically my mentor. She's taught me about everything on Yandex products. So if should there be technical questions that I might not be able to answer, then I will have to revert to Lily. But otherwise, we'll keep it within me. So yes. Okay, so as I said before that today we're gonna talk about Unified Performance Campaign. So for those of you who are not familiar with Unified Performance Campaign, it is a new type of campaign that combines the text and image ads, dynamic ads, and smart banners into one. And again, as I mentioned, that this session might be a little advanced for those of you who are still new with Yandex, for those of you who doesn't even have an account with Yandex. But at the end of this session, we also share with you guys the context of our team. So if you want to learn more about our product, if you want to discuss more about what Yandex product might be more suitable for you, we can set a one-on-one session with you and understand your business better. So without further ado, let's get started. So what we'll cover today is we'll cover about the campaign level setup, group level targeting, ad level creation, the advanced setting, and also tips and tricks. So I'm just gonna move my screen to the Yandex interface. Okay, so this is the Yandex Direct interface. If you already have an account with Yandex Direct, you may be familiar with this one. So in order to create your first UPC campaign or your second and third UPC campaign, you click on Add Campaign on this one, and you can see that Unified Performance Campaign is under the expert mode. That's why I mentioned that it might be a little bit advanced, but we'll keep it as simple as possible. So first you click on this one, and you'll be redirected to this page. So at the campaign level, we set the foundation for our advertising efforts that include setting up the placement, your strategy, and also the weekly budget. So first thing you can do is you start by linking to your advertised page here. And if your business is registered on Yandex Business, you can add company information to boost credibility. This step is optional but beneficial. And as far as I'm aware, right now the Yandex Business is only possible for Russian legal entity. So if you don't have a Russian legal entity, I don't think that you can register your Yandex Business for now, but we don't know what the future holds. So you can stay tuned, and maybe in the future the Yandex Business may be open to non-Russian legal entity as well. So for this one, I'm gonna choose Yandex.ru as our demo. So since this page is already registered in Yandex Business, you can see that their company information is automatically generated here. You can see. And after that, we can choose the placement. So by default, it is the first placement is a combination of Yandex Search, Advertising Network, and Yandex Maps. We also have Telegram channels and manual setup. So with manual setup, it's where you can choose specifically where you want to put your placement. So if we can see here that you can choose Yandex Search, Yandex Advertising Network, Maps, or Yandex Business. So the first tip that I want to share with you is to separate your campaign for Yandex Search and Yandex Advertising Network. So instead of using this one, we can choose the manual setup. And why do I recommend you to use the separate campaign placement? Because typically Yandex Search is more expensive due to high intent, but very effective for conversions. Whereas advertising network is usually cheaper and it has a broader reach because we have a ton of partner platforms, and it is ideal for awareness campaign. So for this one, I'm gonna choose the Yandex search. So I'm gonna untick the advertising network. This one is not relevant if your company is not registered in Yandex Business, so we can leave this one. And for product gallery in search result, it is more or less similar as in Google search. If you are typing for product and you see that under the search result, there's like a carousel of products that you can see on the product information. So it's similar for that one. If you have products, you can tick on this one. I'm gonna leave it be. And then we can start choosing our strategy. So for strategy, we have three. We have maximum clicks, maximum conversions, and maximum clicks with manual bids. So maximum clicks with manual bids, it's actually quite similar with maximum clicks. But if you do the manual bids, that means you need to set each of the bids separately for each keyword. And that means you need to like adjust the bid every now and then. I don't think it's ideal unless you have a very specific price that you want to pay for each keyword. Otherwise, you can stick with maximum clicks and maximum conversions. Okay, so another tip that I want to give in this strategy section is start with maximum clicks to drive traffic to your site. So it is generally recommended to begin with this strategy as our system needs time to learn. Well, you might be tempted to start with maximum conversions. It's crucial to understand that without sufficient data, this strategy might not perform well. So ideally, we would recommend that you have around 70 conversions per week before considering this approach. And then we can move on to the budget. So we have weekly budget. It's counted from Monday to Sunday. We also have for the period budget. So for example, if you have a campaign budget for 10 or 20 days, then you can put in for the period budget, the date, the starting date, and then the end date, and then the budget will be maximized for those amount of days. So we're gonna stick with the per week one for now. And then in terms of cost capping, we have budget and CPC. So this option is best when you have a specific target CPC in mind. So you need to keep in mind, if you use this option, it might limit your ad's ability to find the optimal price per click. So if you don't have a fixed CPC in mind, it is better to stick with your weekly budget. By letting your budget determines the optimal CPC for your ad ensures that your campaign can run at its best without being restricted by a fixed CPC. And then we also have Yandex Metrica text. So for those of you who are not familiar with Yandex Metrica text, I'm just gonna give you a little introduction. So Yandex Metrica text is our powerful free web analytics tool that is fully integrated with Yandex advertising products. So it's not just about tracking visits, it's about understanding your audience's behavior and making data-driven conversions. So with Yandex Metrica, you can gain comprehensive analytics. They also have session replay, heat maps, and goal tracking. And when you integrate Yandex Metrica with your campaign, you can gain like a deeper understanding of how your ads are performing and can make informed adjustment. Another advantage is also its integration capability with Google Analytics. So you can consolidate data from both platforms, giving you a more comprehensive view of your website's performance. And Yandex Metrica is also necessary to have when you are using the maximum conversion strategy, because otherwise we can only track your clicks and we cannot track your conversions. And that's about the standard strategy. We also have portfolio strategy. So with portfolio strategy, you can use the same strategy for multiple campaigns. And the example that would be used for why would you want to use the strategy, portfolio strategy, is when you have existing campaigns already running. As you know that our system needs time to learn to gather data. So if you want to run a new campaign that uses the same strategy as the existing campaigns, then you can start using the portfolio strategy to reduce the time for our system to learn, because they will be using the data that is generated from the existing campaigns to help the new campaign learn faster. So that is for portfolio strategy. But in general, I would recommend to just stick with the standard strategy because you will have a better and full control of your campaign. So I'm just gonna type in for this one. We're gonna stick with budget. Okay. In terms of campaign dates, by default, it will be starting from the day when you created the campaign, but you can also choose when do you want to start and when do you want to end. As I mentioned before, that if you have specific period, if you only want to do it 10 days or 20 days, then you can configure the campaign dates as well. For time targeting, by default, it will be daily 24/7, but you also have the option to change it to weekdays or per hour setting. And in our per hour setting, you can see that you can change the time zone and you can untick on the time that you don't want your campaign to be active. But generally, it is recommended to stick with daily 24/7. Okay, next we have URL parameters. So with URL parameters, it is important to track effectiveness of your campaign. So it will allow you to understand which ads drive traffic and conversions through Yandex Metrica and other analytics tools. We also have promo. If you want to add promotional info to your campaign, right now it is only available in Russian, as you can see. And I believe since most of you are probably targeting Russian speaking audience, this can come in handy to make it more appealing to your target audience if you have promotion for your campaign. And we also have automatic ad adjustment feature. So it will optimize your ad settings based on performance data to improve your campaign success without requiring manual intervention. So this is especially useful for maximizing efficiency of your campaign with minimal effort. So I'll just usually recommend just to leave it be. If you want to take this one as well, it's also recommended. And then we have the advanced settings. So with advanced settings, you can fine tune your campaign to improve their efficiency. You can see that we have adjustment, negative keywords, and we're gonna walk through it one by one. But just in general, before we move to advanced settings, do you all have any questions that you want to clarify for the campaign level settings? Okay, we have one question. How long or how much spending per clicks exactly is the learning phase for it's able to turn to max conversions? Can I clarify the question? How much spending per clicks? Do you mean the budget?
Mm, I think the question was how fast we can turn to conversion strategy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we need at least 10 conversions a week and more. So this is the minimum.
Does that answer your question? All right, sounds good. Anyone else have any question? Or we can move on to the advanced settings if everyone is clear. Okay, I think we can move on for now. So we can start with adjustment. So with adjustment, you can adjust the bits based on factors like device, gender, as you can see here, income or region. For example, if you want to increase your bid for specifically men between 35 or 44 years old, you can increase the bid by up to 1200. Or if you want to increase by 100%, it can also be. So as you can see here, it shows you information that CPC times 2 if you increase the bid by 100%. And you can also reduce the bid. For example, if you don't want man, woman under 18, you can reduce the bid by 100%. So it will show you that impressions are disabled for this specific characteristic. So it will help you to avoid to optimize your spend by adjusting your bid for specific criteria. And then we have negative keywords. So you can use negative keywords to avoid wasting budget on irrelevant clicks. If you know that these keywords are not relevant to your campaign, you can add these keywords here. We also have site monitoring. So by default, it is off, but I would recommend you to turn it on because I think this feature is quite useful. As you can see that site monitoring means that it will help to monitor your site. So when your website is unavailable or it cannot be accessed, then the ads will be automatically paused and you will receive notifications from us to maybe check your website if it's working all right. And only after your website is back online, then the campaign will resume again. So I think it's pretty cool to activate this feature. And then we have extended geo-targeting. So with extended geo-targeting, it allows your ad to be viewed by people outside of your intended region. So for example, the example is here, buy an apartment in Moscow. So if your campaign is buy an apartment in Moscow and your target region is Moscow, then people outside of Moscow won't be able to see your ad if you turn this off. So if you turn this on, for example, if I am located in Indonesia and I write buy an apartment in Moscow, even though I'm outside of the intended region, I will be able to see this ad because they turn on the extended geo-targeting. And I put it specifically in Moscow. So this is pretty useful as well if you want to broaden your target audience. And then we have experiments. So you can use experiments feature to test different settings and strategy, and it will allow you to understand which approach works best before committing to a full-scale campaign. For disable impressions, I think it's quite straightforward. If you don't want your campaign to be served in specific platforms or IP addresses, you have the option to fill in the information here. And then we have ad prioritization. So for ad prioritization, by default, it will be the first option. And I would recommend you to stick with this one. And not only, but generally it is recommended to choose the second option when you have clear distinction between ad groups in terms of keyword subjects and ad tags. So for example, if one of the ad group is advertising for a more general product, for example like a tile, roof tiles, and then the second ad group is like a flexible roof tiles. So that is two different products. Then you can choose for the second option by the keyword closest to the query, because otherwise it will, if the first one is chosen, it will obviously continue to choose the keywords that have the highest CDR, and usually it is the general keywords. Okay, so this is all for the campaign level setting. And this one is the information about the business in ads on Yandex Maps. It's only relevant if your ad is, if your company or website is registered on Yandex Business. If not, you can leave this on. And notifications is where you will receive notifications about the campaign. And this is from the campaign level. Next, we have the ad group targeting. Do we have any question for this section, the campaign level settings? All good? Okay, then we can continue. So the next one, we have group level targeting. So within each campaign, you can create multiple groups, and each group can target different segments of your audience or focus on different products, as I mentioned before. So at the group level, we define our audience and refine our targeting. Now, first, you define the regions you want to target. So you can select the countries, regions, or cities. If you want, you can see that you have Europe, Asia, Africa. If you want to be more specific, you can click on the arrow and it will try to give you a more like a specific region or area that you want to cover. But if you want like to target the whole, Russia, for example, and you don't want to exclude any part of Russia, you can click on this one. Or if you want to exclude, then you can untick the box. The process is quite straightforward. And then for auto targeting, you can use auto targeting to reach relevant search query categories and brand mentions. So you can choose the right options based on your goals, whether targeting broad or specific queries. So if you want to targeting broad, you can select the broad queries, related queries, alternative queries to be turned on as well. But if you want it to be more specific, I would recommend you to remove the broad queries, related queries, alternative queries, and also this one. I think this is a good like selection if you want to have like a more specific queries instead of a more general one. Okay, and then keywords. So you can select relevant keywords to connect with your target audience, and you can use negative keywords to avoid irrelevant clicks and make your budget more efficient. And then we have retargeting. So if you're not familiar, retargeting allows you to reconnect with users who have interacted with your website before. You can also target your loyal members or create lookalike audiences that is similar to users like your loyal members, so you can expand your reach while maintaining relevance. For promo, you can choose to, if you don't have promo from the campaign, you can use disable promo. If you want to set a separate promo for this group, then you can choose a separate promo for this ad group. And don't forget to add use URL parameters to track the performance of each group. And then in the advanced settings, we also have adjustment where you can, as mentioned before, you can adjust the bid according to each factors. So in this group, you can create multiple groups after you finish the group level and then the ad level, if you want to focus on different segments of your audience or if you want to focus on different products. So that's it on the group level. We can now continue to the ad level. If anyone have any questions, or we can continue forward. Okay, silence means everyone understands, so I'm happy. We can continue. Okay, so this one is the ad level. So at the ad level, we create and optimize the actual ads that will be shown to your target audience. So this is where your creativity comes into play. First thing you want to do is you choose the ad type. We have text and image ad, we have image ad, we have product and catalog pages. The commonly used one is text and image ad. But if you want to see other ad type, you can also see the differences when you click on this one. So I'm gonna stick with the text and image ad. This is the commonly used one. And so the first, you need to fill in the link to the promoted page, and don't forget to add the URL parameters as well here. And then you can, in Yandex, Yandex can automatically generate unique text and images for you based on your content, but it is recommended to create your own copy. I mean, to create your own images and text because it will be more relevant and usually it leads to better engagement. So you can focus on clear, concise messaging with a strong call to action. So this is where you start filling information on your campaign with the title, additional title, and text. As you can see the preview on the right side here. So for example, the title is extendable roof, waterproof roof. And maybe describe the main advantages of your offer, like a guarantee, 5 years guarantee. So you can see the preview of your ad here once you fill in the information. And then the next one, we have image, videos, carousel, and button. So this section is used in Yandex advertising network. So for example, in this demo, we are focusing on Yandex search. we won't need to fill in the image, videos, carousel, or button. But if you are advertising in Yandex Advertising Network, it will be very beneficial for you to add like visuals. Next, we have contacts in app. So this one is for if your company is registered in Yandex Business. Otherwise, you can skip this one. You can also enter the price of your product or service here if you want to target your like provide additional information. And then callouts and site links. It is very important to enhance your ads with callouts and site links because these elements increase your ads visibility and provide additional pathways like for users to engage with your content. And also when you fill in the callouts and site links, it will help to make your ad look bigger and it will be more noticeable to your target audience. So for example, you can fill in callouts with key selling point of or maybe your offer like a limited time offer, you can just put it. And for site links, for example, like Instagram, you can put additional links such as your social media profiles, Instagram, or maybe another page that can convert like a your user to be a loyal member. So we can our Instagram account and we just put in the link here and you can see how it will be reflected in the preview here. So if you fill in all of the 8 site links, it will make your ad really big. Okay, so that is the information that you need to fill out in the ad level, and Yandex also offers recommendation before you launch. As you can see here, there's like a add site links or link an organization. If you want to follow the suggestions, it can significantly improve your campaign success. But if you feel like it's not relevant, for example, if you're not registered in Yandex Business, you can leave this one out. And after you finish everything, you can click on launch your campaign. And that is the end of how you create the UPC campaign from the campaign level, group targeting, and ad level. So we have a question right now from Chitun. I'm just checking the chat box. In Yandex, which creative approach have better ad effects, image or video? I think it's mostly image, but I think based on the recent research, it's been shown that videos are also generating a better conversion as well right now. What do you think, Lily?
Yes, but usually images has more impressions. So there are more chances to attract the client video images, but we usually recommend to use all available formats in one ad group. So you can cover all platforms and all formats.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Lily, and thank you for your question. So far, anyone else have any question on the steps from the beginning until now? No? Everything good? Wow, that's good. That's good. That means that I explained everything clearly. But not to worry if you miss anything or if you feel like you need further clarification, you don't feel like you want to like you want to speak personally, you can feel free to reach out. But before we wrap up, oh, I have a question. What's the difference between GDN and Yandex Direct? Any benefits? I'm not familiar with GDN. Do you know, Lily?
I think it's Google Display Network. Um,
Oh,
so the benefit is that Google is it is not banned, but you cannot advertise in Google in Russia. So the only one channel that you can use for display campaign is Yandex Direct. So, and we have more than 40,000 partners. So your ad can be shown almost to everyone in Russia. And also in Russia, we have other platforms like VK, like OK, and so on, and they have their custom service and custom audience. But Yandex provide the widest opportunities for targeting in Russia.
Okay. Anyone else have any question before we wrap up? Okay, so before we wrap up, I know that this session might be covering a lot of ground, so I have prepared for you like a quick summarize of the key tips that we covered today. Let me just move the screen here. Okay, so this is the summarize. So the first one is separate campaigns by placement. So it is recommended to differentiate between search and Yandex advertising network campaigns to manage your budget more effectively. And then the second one, begin with a strategy focused on gathering data before moving to maximum conversion. So please remember that the system needs time to learn and it's recommended to have around 70 conversions per week before switching. And stick with weekly budget. So please, it is better to let the weekly budget determine the optimal CPC for your campaign because choosing a fixed CPC might limit your ad's ability to find your best price per click. And we also have advanced settings. As you can see, we have bid adjustment, negative keywords, and site monitoring. You can take advantage of these settings to refine your campaign's performance. And I think the most important one is to utilize Yandex Metrica. It is very beneficial. It is free, and you can integrate Yandex Metrica for deeper insights and enhanced conversion tracking. It's easy to set up and provides valuable data. And lastly, leverage callouts and site links. So these features will enhance your ad visibility by providing additional information and increasing user engagement. So this is the key tips that we covered today. And I also promised to share with you our contacts. So if you have any questions about our product, if you're still new to Yandex, if you want to learn more about Yandex, you can feel free to contact any of us. So we have people for Vietnam and Philippines, Indonesia and Thailand, but any one of us that you contact will be okay, so we can redirect you to the right person. I'm just gonna see, we have the question, any recommendations in making budget for ad tests? For ad tests, I would recommend is the budget is 10 times CPA. That is usually the recommended budget. Do you have any additional information, Lily? Do you want to
Uh,
add anything?
Usually it depends on the category because sometimes we can start with $500, but for some categories um, the bids are very high. So it might be 2,000 US dollars, but we can prepare a budget forecast for search and a budget forecast for CPM campaign, for network campaign. So you can have a like rough understanding of the budget that we offer you to try.
Okay. Any last questions before we end this session? Don't forget to screenshot this ad as well if you want to reach out to us. Okay, all good? Everything good? Okay, then we can close the session. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to helping you achieve great results with Yandex and have a great day and happy advertising. Thank you guys. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.